So I just made a statement about these amps the other day saying that they don't cut off. I think I put the cart before the horse. A couple days ago, I experienced the amps cutting out again. Previous video, I spoke about the ground wires over there on that battery being loose, and yeah, they were. And the M6s, the battery post screws, they were kind of loose as well, but not crazy loose to the point where things should be shutting off. So there was a wire. I have two separate remote wires, right? Two separate remote wires. This is one. It's over here. So this is one I had connected to the T-2500. And I thought, okay, all the grounds and everything is connected and tight. So what else could it be? And I checked the remote wires. The remote wires, both were tight as well. But when I took this remote wire out, the T-2500, this 1000 turned on. I said, okay, maybe it could be something faulty with this remote wire. So I took it out and I connected the 12-volt remote wire, connected to both amps. So basically, the remote wire that's leading into this one is pretty much strapped to the T-2500, and they turned on, and they both turned on, and they were playing just fine, no issue. And I went out to play everything today, and about the 20 minutes, I would say about 20 to 25 minutes in, it started cutting out. And I figured that the amp was too hot, so I did touch the T-2500 and it was on fire. This perimeter around here, still a bit warm, but not crazy hot. I imagine the amps should have turned back on now, but they haven't. And the car is on, is running. So I want to see if I take this remote wire out again, will this amp turn on? If so, that's a problem I've never seen before in car audio. And since this was actively going on now, I decided to go ahead and turn the camera on. So let me see if I can take this remote wire out, the T-2500 over there, the bigger amp, and see if this amp cuts on. 1 second. All right, as we can see right now, both amps are off. Usually there'll be a blue illuminated light on each amp, letting you know that they both have power. So here, I'm about to disconnect the remote wire from this one and see if that other amp turns on. Like I said, I hate the hex screws with this one. But let's see, I'm gonna remove this and let's see if that amp turns on. And it did. You see that? I've never seen that before in my life. And even when I had this one that's dedicated to that T-2500, right? When I disconnected that one, that amp turned on. So something is up. I've never seen that before. Maybe you guys can let me know what that is. Now initially the amp, both amps play just fine for about 30 minutes of just deep bass, loud sound from the mids and highs. And then all of a sudden they both start cutting out. Not cutting in and out, they just shut off. I remove the remote wire from this one, that one comes back on. So let me see if I can put the remote wire back in this one and see if this one comes back on. Really strange. So I'm going to put this wire back in this amp and watch how this one shuts off again. Boom, shut off again. Watch when I remove it. Comes back on. Tell me if you've not seen that before. I've never seen that before. And it just started happening out of nowhere. It hadn't been doing that since I've had the vehicle installed, well, everything installed, and that's been over a year now. So what could it be? I may replace this amp and put the 1500 back in here, because I'm probably don't need this 2500 for the Stratos that I'm running right now. Well, that 1500 probably won't be enough for those. But if it's not the amp, it's probably the wires. No, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense either. It couldn't be the wire, because I'm running this wire right to that one, but that one's it's on. It doesn't shut off until it's connected to this one. So it's probably something to do with this amp. Let me know if you guys have ever seen this issue, and maybe we can diagnose it and find out. All right, thank you. I'm still sitting here thinking about what else I could say, because I'm brainstorming what could be the issue. So yeah, sorry for the pauses, but all right, let me know if you guys have seen this issue before. See you in the next one. All right, gents, I was doing some more troubleshooting, right? And I took out this ground wire. Look at this burnt up ground wire. That's why I told you, you have to switch over from CCA to OFC. That is burned all the way through. As you can see, it's darker on this end. But what's strange, the reason why I turned the camera back on, is this amp this amp is on without the ground wire. Can you see that? Have you seen this before? But when I put the ground wire back in, right? I haven't tried to, but I can imagine. If I put that back in, it's gonna turn off. Now, how in the hell is this amp on without a ground wire being inside of it? How? Positive wire, yes. No ground wire and remote wire. So that lets me know that this remote wire here that's specifically for the BD2500 is not faulty. But I cut it out, I cut it off anyways, and kind of put it to the side. So that lets me know I can go ahead and just run this one to it, straight to it. You know, it's kind of right here for it. But I want to say, maybe you guys know something else. It's probably this burned up ground wire that's causing the problem. But also, how is this amp even fucking on? And listen to this.
The bass is on.
The bass is on. How is that possible? Blue light, no ground wire, but it's working. Please explain this. I love cardio for this reason. All right, see you guys in the next one.